Now, the bill has also enhanced the federal Medicaid matching funds, and during this unwinding, millions of people are expected to lose coverage, and that could reverse recent gains in coverage too. While the number of Medicaid enrollees may be disenrolled during the unwinding period is highly uncertain, experts estimate between 7.8 and 24 million people could lose Medicaid coverage this year alone. Folks, the lawmakers are taking action. Billions of federal aid are being used towards new relief payments, and a one-time direct check worth $100,000 will be deposited. This is necessary action as millions of Americans continue to struggle due to the crisis. And while the federal government is dealing with a debt crisis, many local states have a cash surplus and rainy day funds. As a result, 27 states are considering cutting taxes or eliminating them altogether. According to the National Association of State Budget Officers, there has been 2 short years of widespread budget surpluses amid recent state policy. The Institution of Taxation and Economic Policy suggests that many states have now tax cut fever and are looking at offering property tax cuts, rebate checks, and reducing the amount of income taxes paid. In the case of Mississippi and Arkansas, cutting state income tax altogether is their plan. But CBS has noted that there are a number of reasons that state lawmakers have provided for the move. It includes making their states more economically competitive, boosting their growth, and boosting taxpayers who are struggling with inflation. For instance, the Georgia governor signed a bill that would give people in Georgia state income tax refunds. That means you can get up to $500 in your bank account for just owning a home. Single taxpayers and filers married jointly who will get $500 and $250 too as well. And head of household filers will get $375, and married people who file joint returns will get an additional $500 based on individual or couple's tax liability.
That we felt confident our resources could last until the beginning of June.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move on. I did reclaiming my time. I did read the statements. You had said June 1st or the following weeks, at which then tightened up, and that's fine. That's not what we're here today about.
It was consistent with outside
reclaiming my time on this, because I do want to hit on the International Development Finance Corporation as well, but I am also going to repeat something to you that I've repeated to every other person from.
We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus checks, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. A ton of news about the fourth stimulus payments are coming in. I have a lot of information that I'm going to share with you guys today in this video, so continue watching. The several lawmakers, everybody in Congress, have discussed new inflation relief checks for the people. So if you reside in states like Minnesota or Massachusetts, well, you may qualify for at least another stimulus check this year. It comes as budgets are being finalized, states are planning to use the budget surpluses for another round of checks. So a lot of good things are happening in Congress, and a lot of stimulus payments can actually be sent out faster than we ever thought in the history of our lives. So as I was saying, it's official. The governor in several states like Minnesota have actually hoped to include a tax rebate in the state's upcoming budget. It comes from the announcements of the state's budget. It's set to go for January 24. And according to the Associated Press, well, the budget will propose indexing state aid for school districts just to help combat inflation. So Waltz has told reporters that I think people are feeling inflation. Even though it might be cooling a little bit, there's a slight sense of urgency among people to get something done. And that's good here. Something should be done, because the Governor Waltz's original pitch for the tax rebates has been quite generous for a lot of people. It gives single filers, for instance, a lot of breathing room, a lot of time to just think about what they can do, and now the government has already signed them into a second term. So, though, not all of these fellow lawmakers share the priorities, though, because the House Speaker and Majority Leader claimed they wanted to prioritize tax credits for families, giving the families $3,000 for every child 5 or younger, with a cap of $7,500. Even the Massachusetts governor and top lawmakers signaled that a clear picture of potential tax relief may not even emerge until at least the end of January, when a key final metric is actually heard of. So one governor, for instance, said their teams are working closely through numbers and evaluating what's possible. They said that we told reporters how important it is to make sure that we're doing everything we can for the residents of the state. And Healy on the campaign trail had vowed to make progressive permanent tax relief her day one priority. She also had largely echoed support for the now former governor Charlie Baker's sweeping tax cut proposal last year. And low, middle, and income residents have all received some stimulus payments just to stop the crying at least. But now the IRS said it recently finished correcting tax returns filing that for 2020. And so the IRS said, folks, that the average tax refund is around $1,200, with the tax agency sending a total of $15 billion back to the taxpayers. So while taxpayers were sent letters from the IRS just to inform them about the fixes to the 2020 tax filings, well, tax review came due to the American Rescue Plan. It was signed by Joe Biden, we all know that, and because the IRS, it reviewed returns filed by workers and even other people who have jobless aid as income. So the IRS told CNBC that some taxpayers received refunds, while others received overpayment applied due to taxes or other debts. In some cases, the exclusion only resulted in a reduction in their adjusted gross income. But now we know that about 14 million tax returns were corrected. The IRS issued refunds for 12 million of those filings. It added individuals, married couples whose adjusted gross income was below 150 grand, or who were eligible to see unemployment and aid untaxed. According to the IRS, it has now finished corrections, everybody. Though it has added taxpayers who are eligible for the exclusion and who haven't gotten a correction from the IRS. Well, they need to be amended very, very quick, or else you won't get that stimulus cash that people need. Wow, we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, and I want to go over some very important notes that I have about the fourth stimulus payment and what Joe Biden should do about this fourth stimulus check and what he's going to do now very soon.
Hey everyone, today we honor the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a prophet. He saw the future as it could be, a future of equity, justice, and opportunity for all. Dr. King saw the connection between racial injustice and economic injustice, and he knew that to effectively address either injustice, our nation would have to address both. Together, in the spirit of the fight for freedom and equality, let us stand together to end the epidemic of violence and hate in our communities. Let us advance workers' rights and economic dignity. Let us continue to protect and strengthen our most sacred freedoms, the freedom to organize, the freedom to worship, the freedom to make decisions about one's own body.
Now, Chuck Schumer and Manchin are holding meetings on how to move forward with President Biden's Build Back Better bill. Schumer has announced that the bill will be passed very soon. However, there will be some adjustments to the finalized version of the bill. Watch to the end to find out how to receive your fourth stimulus check. Schumer has said that he and other centrist Democrats like Manchin had discussed moving a bill that would unwind parts of the Republican tax law enacted when the former president was in office. The good news is that Schumer has confirmed that the bill could be passed in just a few weeks. The goal is to ease inflation, which is badly hurting economies, and President Biden's approval ratings. Democrats are eyeing a fast-track budget process that would bypass the need for 60 votes in the Senate necessary to overcome a Republican filibuster. Schumer told reporters today, look, reconciliation is very, very important,